Welcome to Embrace Relief. I am Chelsea Winterholler, and I am so excited to be your coach today. This is episode 137. There is power in His name. There is a better way to process your pain than simply logically thinking your way through it. I have learned this for myself, and I am so very humbled and excited to introduce this to you today. I promise that the time that you spend here with me will be worth it. Hello. Welcome to the podcast today. Thank you so much to those of you who have shared this podcast with a friend. It helps me so much. It helps me to get this information out to more people. So if you have an option to right now, I would love you to send this podcast to someone that you didn't send it to last week. Thank you so much for your support. And I am excited because there are so many people in this world who have no idea what life coaching is. So people often tell me that life coaching is all about being happy and turning sad emotions into happy ones. And if that is you, if that's why you are here, or that's why you started on this journey of figuring out your emotions, I want you to be so grateful. That is what started it for me. I saw people around me struggling. I saw my children struggling, friends, family members who were struggling, feeling a lot of overwhelm and worry almost constantly. So I started this journey by wanting to be happier than I was witnessing those people in my life being. And guess what? It worked. I learned how to train my brain to think differently. And honestly, it is so remarkable to be able to recognize your thoughts, to see what your thoughts are creating, and to learn to create something entirely different. It seriously completely changed my life. And I want to hold space for that. Learning life coaching skills completely changed my day-to-day problems into solutions. It changed how I looked at my relationships. It changed a lot of the heartache that I was feeling into joy, just simply by helping my brain change its neural pathways. I was a very logical thinker, and this was a logical way to help myself feel a little bit better. And I think that's what we're all seeking. I talked about it last week. We don't love to feel. We love thinking logically. But something about feeling big emotions brings in a lot of pressure into our body. So what do? We're just normal human beings, so we avoid it, right? We avoid feeling. And I, too, am a natural human being. Once I learned this logical way to rewire my neural pathways in my brain and start making my days better, I had another desire. I was searching for something deeper. I wanted more than logical swapping of my emotions and short-term fixes to my problems. And the awesome thing is that when we desire something, God has a way of providing it. He put me into multiple experiences in my life that would lead me to find relief, and yet a deeper and different way than I had already learned to access it with that logical life coach thinking. And now I continue to desire so much more than the simple swapping of emotions that get me through the day. Again, those are so helpful. They have changed my life. I will never stop using those skills that I have learned and that I teach you here. But now I seek something more. I seek wholeness, and I seek peace, and I seek a more lasting relief. I seek an entirely different way of living and being in my life, and I have found it through my heart and through my beliefs and through God. I have had the opportunity, and I continue to get this opportunity to access power from somewhere outside of me. And I believe that we all have it. We all have this ability to access power from our God. The real excitement and struggle comes from inviting that power into us and into our hearts to create real, lasting change. Now, through my experiences, I've had the opportunity to be introduced to new people and to new books and new podcasts and to new interactions. And I have a coach and a dear friend who I've actually had on the podcast. Her name's Misty Springer, if you want to go back and listen to that podcast. But she introduced me to the logical reality that emotions are actually processed in our bodies, not in our minds. And when I first heard this, I thought I understood it, but I did not. And as I have come to learn this more fully over the past few years, my entire being has changed. I can say that through my tears, that my entire being has truly changed. I began to be introduced to other mentors and new interactions and other people and different ways to connect with God that have shaped me. One of those was Thomas McConkie. If you haven't read his book, At-One-ment, it is a book that has truly changed and shaped my relationship with Jesus Christ. And I have had the opportunity to learn personally about divine therapy. This is a place where God can connect with our heart. God can bring us peace that we cannot access on our own. And it's so much different than our traditional logical thinking brain. And the beautiful thing is, it is not hard to access. I know that you are seeking happiness. That makes complete sense to me. I seek it too. But what I really know, so much deeper in my core, is that happiness comes through embracing what we are feeling right now in our hearts and allowing God to pierce that pain and to share it with us. The pain that you are feeling in your life, it is not an accident. It is a truly holy space where if you trust yourself and you allow God to enter into that space with you, you can find more lasting relief. I know it because I've lived it. I've experienced it personally, and I have helped clients and friends and family members experience this too. I'm going to restate that. The pain that you are feeling is not an accident. It is a holy space where if you trust yourself and allow God to enter into it with you, you can find more lasting relief. Breathe into that. This pain, it's not an accident. But how, Chelsea, how do I do this? I actually had a friend call me the other day and say, I listened to your podcast last week and I did everything that you said, but now what? Now what do I do? I know that often here I give you pieces of the puzzle, but it's because these pieces are so, so important. I want to share a story with you. I had a client recently who came into a session with a million things on her brain. She has a few kids, she has a job, she loves others, she serves everyone that comes into her sphere, and she was feeling extremely overwhelmed, to say the least. Her brain was spinning. And I know that you can relate to her because this is very normal to have a spinning brain. We all experience this. But when we allow our brains to continue spinning, we ignore our emotions and we ignore the things that our body is craving to experience so that we can step beyond that current pain that we're feeling, so that we can invite God into the pain to help our brain slow down. So how do we slow it down? How do we tap into this divine therapy? How do we tap into a place where God can help us when everything feels so big, so overwhelming, and completely insurmountable? Well, most of us, because we are humans, need to start by thinking logically. And that's okay. That's because those neural pathways in our brains, that's where they want to go. They want to go to what we know how to do. So let's start there. When your brain is spinning, I want you to get a pen and a paper or get out your notes app on your phone and write down what your brain is spinning about. I want you to remember that you can take this piece of paper, you can crumple it up, tear it up, rip it, burn it. No one ever has to see it. But your brain has to break free from the spinning that it is experiencing. And the best way that I have found to logically begin is to write down all the thoughts that I'm having. Write down the things that you feel are overwhelming you, the words that people have said that you're having thoughts about. Write down your feelings about yourself and the ways that you are falling short or the ways that you're succeeding. I don't care, but I want you to write it down. Sometimes this ends up being 5 thoughts. I have had times in my life where it ends up being 5 pages of pain. And it's okay. It's okay and it's safe to write these things down. Typically, after you've done this, you can review the thoughts that you have written down, and there will be some that no longer feel important. There will be others that no longer feel true. But there will be some that will bounce off the page towards you. I want to encourage you to breathe. Remember, we're trying to find divine therapy, so we need to invite our breath in here. I want you to take a breath, and as you are looking at your page and reviewing it, I want you to find that one thought that is all of a sudden bouncing off the page at you, because there will be one. And if there's 5, that's okay. But I want you to pick one, and I want you to lean into it. Really, I want you to lean in to this thought that feels so incredibly true to you right now. I want you to give it your time, and I want you to give it your attention. Maybe the thought is, I am falling short. Of course, my 2 favorite words, if you've been here very long, you know that these 2 words help me and help my clients go from a brain space into into a heart space. Of course, you feel like you are falling short. That makes complete sense. You have a lot of things pulling you in a lot of different directions. Of course, you feel this overwhelm. I want you to breathe into that. Into those two words, if that's all you can do. Breathe in the word of and out the word course. Of course. This makes complete sense. Of course, I am feeling this way. Now, where do you feel this way? Where do you feel in your body like you are falling short? I have a lot of clients that right now in this moment will check out. I don't know where it is in my body. Nope, come on back to me. I promise that the time and attention that you give this right here, right now, will benefit you. I promise. Where does this overwhelm live in your body? Perhaps in your chest? Yeah, what's it feel like in your chest? The overwhelm feels trapped. It feels like a gumball bouncing around inside one of those glass gumball dispensers. And it's clinging and clanging, and it has absolutely no way out. It's trapped. Is it only trapped inside of you? Or do you feel it outside of you? Perhaps you feel clouds pushing in. Perhaps you feel pressure pushing in on you from the outside. Of course you are feeling this. What color is that pressure? What color is that gumball? It feels green. It feels like a dark, dark green. Okay. Continue your breath. Those clouds, maybe those clouds are going from the outside of you and coming into this gumball machine, and they're infiltrating and suffocating that bouncing green gumball. This is all happening with such force, such pressure. I promise it is completely safe to feel this right now. We're breathing in through our nose and out through your mouth. You're feeling that breath go in through your nose and down your throat. You're feeling that breath go into your chest and starting to infiltrate those clouds surrounding the gumball machine. This breath is even having the blessing of entering into that little hole where the gumball comes out, the breath is slowly filtering through that hole and into the inside of the glass where that green, pressure-filled overwhelm is living. Breathe. Allow the breath to surround this feeling. Allow the breath to feel safe. Allow the breath to start infiltrating those clouds. It's completely safe to feel this overwhelm. It's completely safe to breathe here and now and into this space. Now, you are safe. Of course, you are feeling this. It is normal to feel this. Where does God reside? Where does God reside in this pain? Where does God reside in this breath? Where does God reside in your body? Breathe into this and know that you are not alone. You are not alone in this pain. This pain that you are feeling is not an accident. This pain is a holy space where if you trust yourself and you allow God to enter into it with you, you can and you will find more lasting relief. Thank you for taking this time to lean into this pain, to lean into this overwhelm, to lean into the frustration that you are feeling right now. I have a friend who I met in a basketball gym, who I've been friends with since we were 3 years old. And a few weeks ago, she invited me to examine for myself a gratitude practice that I wanted to start. And I never could have known the beauty that was about to come from her extending this challenge to me to do a different and fresh and new gratitude journey. I prayed and I contemplated what to do. And I realized that God had been preparing me for months to find the power in His name. God had been preparing me to see and know and start recognizing names of Jesus Christ. I have chosen to start expressing gratitude daily for a different name of Jesus Christ. I invite you into this practice with me. I plan to do it every day for the next 30 days. But I'm secretly hoping that this is a lifelong lesson that my eyes can be open to, that I am never alone, and that God is constantly with me, and that as I invite him into this pain as I trust in myself and I allow him to be here with me, I can continue accessing this relief. This pain that you are experiencing is holy. It is not an accident. I know there is purpose here, and I know that there is power in inviting the divine into our pain. I hope you will join me, and I know that you will find peace in your pain. If this resonated with you today, I want you to do two things. Go to my website and set up a completely free consult. We can talk one-on-one. We can figure out what areas of your life you want to zoom in on and really figure out what emotions are fueling you today. And second, I would love you to share this podcast with a friend. If it resonated with you, it will definitely help them too. I'll see you soon, friends.